A lot of times we go through life not really ever touching base with the truth of life, but instead living from this falsehood. It's like Plato's cave, you know? They were inside the cave and they saw the shadows from what was happening outside the cave. But that wasn't actually what was happening outside. It was just the shadows. And until they actually came out of the cave, could they see what the real world out there was. A lot of times we go through life living in Plato's cave, thinking that our perception is reality. And our perception is so limited. It is this conditioned, molded lens that we view life through, and we look for evidence of our beliefs outside of us, thinking that it's reality, that it's the ultimate truth and whatever else. But the ultimate reality is so much greater than that. In fact, life is, as we know it, conceptually, is just a dream. And we go through it and we take it so seriously, everything, ourselves, the circumstances we're in. And it creates a lot of inner disturbance, a lot of inner chaos, stress, turmoil. And that's okay because it's part of the human experience. But imagine if you were dreaming something and at first you weren't aware it was a dream. So you're living as yourself in this dream and good things are happening and bad things are happening. It's just, roller coaster of emotions sometimes, kind of like life. And then you realize that you're dreaming. And imagine if something at that point in the dream, something really bad is happening. You're something scary. You're getting chased by a bear or anything, really. It doesn't matter what it is. Would you still feel those emotions in the same way? Would it really consume you? Probably not. You would recognize that you're dreaming, and you probably wouldn't take it as seriously. The same is true in life. We go through life as the dreamer, not realizing that we're dreaming, that we're part of a greater consciousness that is dreaming, that is experiencing itself through trillions of different perspectives, everything. Imagine if you were the ultimate creator, God, and you went trillions and trillions of years getting and doing whatever you wanted, creating all kinds of stuff, and you knew how it was going to play out in the end. And then you're like, okay, well, getting everything I want and having bliss was it wasn't really it. I'm kind of bored of it now. So you go another few trillion years, and you throw in some hardship in there. But you always know that you prevail. So you realize after a few dozen trillion years or infinite time, whatever it is, that maybe the only way for me to get a new experience is to forget that I'm the ultimate creator, that I'm God. And so you'd have to experience life not remembering who you are. So you end up where you are now, as this human being, experiencing the life that you're experiencing. Disconnected, not remembering the truth of what you are, which isn't this, mind-body vessel, this limited being right now, this limited human, I should say. You would recognize that this is just a temporary dream, like the dream I was speaking about at the beginning. Would you still take everything so seriously? Would you be scared or worried? No. You realize that you are that which is the whole, the entirety of everything. Abundance itself, life itself. We go through life dreaming, identifying with everything, living from the limited, conditioned ego or perception of our mind, perpetuating the same cycles of suffering within ourselves and around the world with everyone else, the collective consciousness. We go through life looking for truth outside of ourselves, looking for something to fill this void within, this deep longing for purpose and understanding, wisdom, truth outside of ourselves without even realizing it. We try and get it in and finding security and stability in money, in another person or other people, in another accomplishment, in more material possessions. We try and accumulate more things. We chase after things. We strive. We sacrifice ourselves. We sacrifice other people. We create more suffering, all because we were disconnected from the truth of who we are, dreaming the dream rather than being aware of the dream. Now, being aware of the dream doesn't mean that you don't do anything. It doesn't mean that, I realize I'm this limited human and I'm not going to do anything. This is the human experience. It's not to run away from the human experience, but to actually go deeper into it with awareness, with consciousness, with God. Knowing that you are just a wave in the ocean for the time being. And that wave is not separate from the ocean itself. It's just a temporary expression, unique expression or manifestation of the ocean. And a lot of times we think, I need to make myself something with my ego. It's not like this is a conscious process. We're unconscious in life, unconscious to the truth of what we are, which is pure consciousness, infinite awareness. There's so many different ways of putting it, but they're all just words. So to realize that we are this infinite consciousness is the source of everything and source of, transcending suffering, source of inner peace. But again, not to run away from it, not to push aside the dream. The dream is what it is right now, but to bring that consciousness with you into the dream, to really fully experience it. Because going through life identified with this character that we're playing in this video game that we call life is not to truly living. Life changes when this consciousness opens up within you. When you find God. Finding God is really finding yourself. I think a lot of times we seek meaning and purpose and truth through various, methods, I guess, if you want to call it that. A lot of them fail us. They provide a temporary inspiration or, motivation or some sort of positive feeling within ourselves. A flash, if you will, of wisdom, consciousness, ascension. It's called Sartori, I believe, in Zen. To see something clearly, like very quickly. But the ego can't grasp the greater truth. It can't. Not through concepts, not through words, or anything else. We can only come to that understanding of truth through the direct experience of it. And I think this is where many of us get lost in the chase for it, because there's nothing to chase. It's like chasing yourself, chasing your own tail. When am I going to find it? It's right there. It's you. It's already here. God can't be found in the pages of a book. They can only point you in that direction. But as the saying goes, the finger that points to the moon is not the moon. It's just pointing to it. All of the teachings, all of the books, everything that we can hear, see, whatever, are just pointing to it. It's not the full thing. And through these teachings or the expanded awareness that we might gain from it, we can begin to touch base with that truth by living in practice with it. Through beingness. By not identifying with the dream anymore. It doesn't mean that you're not living anymore or experiencing life. In fact, you are actually experiencing life because you're experiencing the source of life. And you realize that life isn't happening to you, it's happening from you. Because you're not disconnected from the whole. You are a piece of the whole, as is everything else. The illusion of separateness is the dream. Living from this limited, conditioned, conscious mind, or unconscious mind, I should say, of I am this person, I am this age, I do this for work, these are my hobbies, this is my spouse, this is my pet, whatever it is. It's there for the time being, but it's not the whole. It's not the whole thing. When we can get in touch with the source, the root, we can actually enjoy everything else. The fruits that life bears. So try to come back to self, God, consciousness, awareness. It's always there. You don't have to go anywhere to find it. There's no enlightened state to reach. In fact, the idea that I am enlightened is just the ego grasping onto another version of itself. You have to let all of it go. Practice that. Again, it's a fine line. It's a delicate balance because it's not doing things anymore. You can still do things. You still live life as a human. You still live in the play of life, in the dream, if you will. But you are not, the consciousness that you walk through life with is not that who is identified with the dreamer. It is consciousness itself. It's like if there's a projector projecting a movie and you're sitting there watching the movie. looking at the screen and being like, wow, this is the movie or whatever, not realizing that the movie is actually happening behind you from the projector. We go through life looking out here being like, yeah, this is it. This is all of it. No, it's here. This is where it is. Great quote by Carl Jung that says, the person who looks outside dreams. The person who looks within awakens. But it's a pathless path. I think a lot of times we think there's somewhere to go, some specific thing we need to do. We grasp onto different spiritual ideas and concepts of anything. I mean, you name it. It could be certain types of meditation. It could be past trauma or inner healing or personal development or astrology or any of these things. There's tons of them. These are all things to add to this ego, accumulate. Finding God, coming back to self-awareness, is about watching those things and not grabbing onto more things, letting them go, letting them pass by, observing them, but not trying to grab things as a way of getting somewhere. As this is I'll take this stepping stone to finally be enlightened or find myself, wake up from the dream. You don't have to go anywhere to do it. Again, sometimes these teachings can help give you that flash or bring you back to yourself. And from there, it's like grabbing the end of a rope. And all you have to do from here is hold on to it. Put one hand over the next and pull that rope to you. You're on the path. Sometimes we have a hard time finding the rope, though. It's like it's dangling in a room and you're blindfolded. You can't find it. To find the rope is to find yourself, essentially. To find the rope is to awaken consciousness within. But once you have the rope, once you have the awareness, the path is living it, is practicing it. There's no next thing. It's an illusion. Thinking that when I do that, or when I achieve this, or when I get to this point, then I'll have truth, then I'll have peace. It's very easy to get caught up in the way the ego comes back around, because you observe it, you see, oh yeah, that's just my ego thinking negatively, it goes away, and then something else comes up, and we're like, oh yeah, this is really good. I see it with myself all the time, if I'm meditating, for example, and observing myself, observing my breath, observing whatever's going on inside or outside of me, and being aware of it. And I'll notice the thought come to my head of, I'm doing really good right now. Who is the I that's doing very good? Observe that as well, because it's observable. Yet I think we try to grasp onto certain things that we think are good or push away things that we think are bad. But it's all the dream. Everything is the dream. You go within yourself to awaken from the dream, to live from the truth of this reality, what reality actually is, not the perceptions or labels that we have given it. And words cannot give you that reality, because it will always just add more concepts. This whole video is the same thing. It's a teaching to help point in the right direction, to help you walk the path to truth, which is infinite awareness. It's timelessness. It's here, now, always. Past the illusion of time. It's a dimension within yourself that you always have access to. Because to not have access to it, that you always have access to, is that in and of itself is the ego. You are it. Observe everything and attach to nothing. That's the path. Nervous system regulation is the path as well. It's not, it's the same. It's moment to moment coming back to this. It's the blending of your mind, your body, and your spirit through regulating. Because through that you come back into a grounded presence, awareness of beingness. You are that which watches the dream. You realize that you're the one behind who's experiencing the dream. So in that case, it's you're not the dream, you are the dreamer, if that makes sense. Just as if you were dreaming at night. You have the version of you who's in the dream, but that's the dream. And you have the dreamer, which is you sleeping in bed. It's like Inception. In this life, this is the dream. And there's a dreamer who is dreaming this. Find that. But don't look for it. It's a paradox. If you look, you won't find it. When you find it, you find everything. You find peace. You don't force anymore. There's no reason to force anymore. Why would you force if you just know that everything's going to work out? Everything's going to be okay in the end. Not in necessarily in the way that your ego wants it to be okay, but in a greater sense, a non-dualistic sense of not good or bad. It's all just two sides of the same stick. You're the stick, the whole stick, the good and the bad. Because the bad leads into the good, or so-called good, and the good will eventually lead into the bad. It's the pendulum of life that just swings back and forth, back and forth. To identify or resist or try and stop the pendulum in some way, or attach to it. Okay, it's coming over to the good stuff, let's keep it here. No. Then that's what creates the suffering, because it's going to swing back over to the bad side, the things we don't want to happen. That's the dream. This is the play going back and forth of everything. We can observe it. We can watch it. And simply by watching, by observing, by being the projector that is projecting the play, the movie, whatever, not identifying with the play, the shadows in Plato's cave, you come back to peace. You elevate your consciousness. You come into truth. You become it. And what you are not begins to fall away. You see it as just this character, this costume that was never all that real. It was as real as what you made it to be. So, life is a dream. Don't take it too seriously. Hope this helps you come back to yourself. And I'll see you in the next video.